Just wondering what it's been like for you since Micah has opted out. What have the conversations between you two guys been, and how difficult is it to see not only a good player but also one of your best friends move on?
I wouldn't say it's difficult. I'm more so ecstatic. I'm excited for his journey and what's to come. During our conversations, he's just told me he's in a position where he's comfortable. He's gonna focus on preparing himself to be in the best shape moving forward, possibly for the draft. And he just told me it's my turn to do what I got to do here and leave my imprint here at Penn State. So I'm excited not only for him but for myself as well. So.
All right, John Sauber.
Hey, Jesse, thanks for taking the time. How has your leadership role within the defense changed and the linebacker room changed since Micah left?
My leadership role, I've honestly been stepping into it since, Jan left because, I've always been someone who, Coach Pry has been able to depend upon. I've gone from being one of the youngest guys in the room to, being one of the oldest guys in the room, just like that. So, having guys like Lance Dixon, Brandon Smith, Curtis Jacobs, and Zariah Fisher, we're trying to bring them along. We're trying to do so at a steady pace. So, being that leader in the room, someone they can, look to to see how the standard is, how, we're going to do things here in the linebacker room here as a Penn State defense. The standard is the standard. So, being able to enforce it is a good task to have.
All right. Let's see. Mark Wogenrich.
How are you?
Good. We're doing well. How you doing?
Good, thanks. Yesterday, Coach Pry mentioned the game last year when Micah got ejected for targeting. How you going to step into that? Do you think you can step into his role again? Do you want to play that position, or do you still want to be at Mike?
The will position is where I'm at currently, so I'm excited. There's going to be a lot of guys who are going to need to step up and make it for themselves and leave their legacy at Penn State. So, that will position is where I'm at right now, and that's all I'm focused on doing, leaving my legacy.
All right, Ben Jones.
Jesse, over the years, Penn State's had linebackers come and go, even when you've been here. And it seems like they've always been able to have the next guy has been ready to go. What do you think it is about Coach Pryor, really how that room approaches the job that you guys are able to step in, almost immediately and kind of fill whoever just left?
I think a lot goes into that is, it's the standard. You see the rich history of linebackers that have come here and left their mark, from guys from Paul Posluszny, Sean Lee to Navarro to the list goes on and on. I'm trying to think right now. The standard is the standard. So like when I'm watching my film and I'm able to pull up those old clips of Mike Hall, Marty, and all those guys, seeing how they played, the style of football, the swagger, how and just how aggressive and how they play. That's what we want to continue to uphold. So when your number is called and your opportunity is finally here, that's the level that we need to be playing at. So it's passed down.
All right. Let's go to Donnie Collins.
Hey, Jesse. Just from your conversations with him, how close do you think Micah was to coming back? And what did you learn from him during your time here that kind of helps you going into this season?
Micah was close to honestly making that decision, but at the same time, Micah's going to do what he feels best for him and his family. He felt staying out and, preparing for the draft was the best decision. And, we're completely behind him. And, we're always going to support him. With our conversations while he was here, just being out there, having fun and being instinctive, as a linebacker, you're going to make your best plays, making plays on the football. So being able to, stay alive and do what you got to do to make the spectacular plays, that's key.
All right, let's go to Josh Meyer.
Hey, Jesse, how are you doing?
Yeah.
It's good. Well, you've taken quite a few Micah Parsons questions already, and I'm sure that's going to happen a lot this season. It's kind of natural for fans and the media to compare you to the last guy who's been at your position. So I'm just curious, with that dynamic, is that something you're comfortable with, something you welcome, something you're sick of, something you're all of the above? I'm just kind of curious how you handle that, since he was such a vital piece to this team for 2 years.
It's normal. He was someone, the fans, the team, we depended on in the crunch time. That was our guy. So, how I forward, I'm comfortable with it. The only thing I'm concerned about moving forward is how am I going to leave my mark? How are people going to remember Jesse Luketa? That's the only thing. That's what wakes me up day in, day out. I go into practice with a purpose, and that's my only focus.
Good. All right, let's go to John Petitioner.
Hey, Jesse, good morning. Thanks for the time today.
Morning.
Hey, a few weeks ago, Shaka, he posted something to his Twitter account referencing how all the rumors about whether or not the season was going to restart was actually destroying the players' mental health, and destroying is the word that he used. So I wanted to ask you, for your perspective, how much was the uncertainty wearing on you? And then how relieved or happy were you once you did get the word that the season was going to restart?
The uncertainty levels, it was quite dramatic, honestly. For us, it's just normal for us around this year. We're playing football. That's all we know. We train all summer to prepare to put our bodies through, some drastic things throughout this time. So without us knowing if we were going to play, it was hard. We didn't know what we were going to do, how things were going to play out. So the fact that we have the opportunity to play this fall, it's just a blessing. So we're just excited to finally get out there. I'm counting the days down, 23 days until they finally let that leash out and we're able to go loose. So just can't wait.
All right, let's go to Ben Jones.
Jesse, you mentioned Mike Hall, and I remember when he was still playing at Penn State, he talked about how he always wished that younger guys would start watching film sooner, that by the time they're juniors or seniors, they go, man, this was a great idea. I wish I had done this, 2 or 3 years ago. Where do you feel like you are in that process of sort of digesting all the information that you get being in film and what have you?
One of the biggest things for me from the time I as a freshman was just wanted to be a student of the game. I've been able to progress tremendously because of my film study, how diligent I am in my preparation. Like I'll take time, like for example, at time in quarantine, I spent time just that's all I watched. I would watch Mike Hall. Once I finished that, I just started going over Cabinda's film. And then I would go back. I was even watching some film with Dion Barnes, because he's now one of our graduate assistants. So just watching their film, how they did things. So it's like I try to pull some things that I like from Hall, some things that I like from Cabinda, and try to bring it to my own game. I even watch Mike's film, things that I see he does, and how I can incorporate it to my game myself, because I feel like it's only going to allow me to be the best player, the best version of myself. You know what I mean? So being able to be a diligent student of the game is only going to make me a better player, because once the game slows down for me up here psychologically, now it's easy. It's like stealing candy from a baby out there on the field.
Let's go to Dustin Hawkinsmith.
Hey, Jesse, I'm just curious, for the opportunity at hand, are there parts of your game you can kind of address the parts of it physically? Are there things that you really worked on more so than others to get ready for this chance you have this year?
Absolutely. Just ensuring, my body will be able to maintain the load. I'm excited to be able to honestly display, my various skill sets, ensuring that, I can handle that level of snaps per game. So I feel, ensuring that I'm ready, to be in shape, physically, mentally. Those are my two focal points that I was focused on during my time off preparing for the season.
All right, let's go to Audrey Snyder.
Hey, Jesse, I'm going to go in a different direction here, but this off season was also, we saw a lot of social issues throughout the world. And the NCAA is allowing players to put messages on their jerseys if they want this year. I know Coach Franklin said the Leadership Council is meeting about that, but if you could put one social justice message on your jersey, what would that be and why?
If we could just put one message, honestly, just be equality and unity. I feel like at the time right now, we're living in a society where there's a lot of division, and division is never good for anything. It doesn't matter what it is, whatever the objective is. You need to come together collectively and move towards that direction to achieve whatever it is you guys would like to achieve. So I feel like having that message and having our fan base embody it, accept it, and try to continue to promote it would be important.
Let's go to Mark Woganich.
Jesse, I don't know how much special teams you're going to get on, but what do you think of the jersey 0?
I love it, and I'm gonna be playing on every special teams. I tell Coach Lorg all the time, I'm a CTG gang member. I love kickoff return, punt. It doesn't matter whatever he needs me to do. I'll be sure to do it, and do it at a high.
What's the significance of it to you?
CTG or the number 0?
0.
0. I mean, I'm pretty sure you guys all saw the video that was released yesterday. Same thing. The standard is the standard. Whether we have linebacker room or it's on special teams unit. If you're out there and you're in that number 0, people are going to be expecting you to make plays, and that's week to week, game to game, series to series. Be a game changer. Excuse me, and make sure when people see that that's number 0 on the field, that they make sure to double team, triple team, or make sure they're aware of where you are at all times. So that's what I feel like that number embodies.
All right, Donnie Collins.
Jesse, how much progress have Brandon Smith and Lance Dixon made over the last year? And from a depth perspective, what kind of condition do you think that the linebacking core is now compared to other years that you've been here?
Those two young guys, they've made tremendous progress. I'd say more so Lance has made tremendous progress more so off the field than he has on the field. He's finally a guy who I could sit down and say, I could depend on him. It wasn't always like that, but he's made those positive strides in the right direction. As far as depth, I feel as if this year's group, we have depth. We have guys who can play the position, who could fill multiple roles. They're not just one dimensional. As for myself, I've been able to play snaps at the will position, Mike position. We have guys like Brandon Smith who could do the same thing. They're interchangeable. That's the biggest thing, and that's what I try to tell these guys from the time they came in as freshmen. Being interchangeable, being a Swiss knife, quote unquote, what I like to say, because if you're one dimensional, it's gonna be hard because injuries are prone to happen during the season. So if you're able to jump to another position to allow another player to maximize his opportunities to display his skill set, it's only gonna make this better. So.
All right, let's go to Josh Meyer.
Jesse, you said earlier that it only matters how you're remembered. So, that just kind of begs the follow-up. How would you like to be remembered?
Among the greats, speaking with LeVar Arrington, that's someone who I consider my uncle. We talk day in and day out, and when I was spending some time training in LA with him, we would talk vigorously about this every single day. How are you going to be remembered? How are you going to be remembered? So it's been ingrained in my head. So whenever I step on the practice field and I work how I work, I'm diligent with my work and my work ethic. That's the only thing that's going on in my mind. How are you going to be remembered? It doesn't matter if it's from our individual periods to our competition periods to our team periods. It's the same mindset, and it keeps me hungry. So yeah, I keep that little chip on my shoulder.
All right. If we have any other questions, please raise your hand. And we'll go to you. Matt Herb.
Jesse, I wonder if you could take us back to that decision that you made years ago to come down from Canada to the United States and play American high school football. And what was the dream for you? And what was the most difficult part of making that transition from Canadian to American football?
So my dream initially was to attend school abroad and pursue my dreams of playing collegiate football at the highest level. So at the time, I didn't know how I was going to do it. I didn't know what it was going to entail, but I also didn't know how I'd find a way to, financially support my decision, because at the time, I'm the youngest of 7. My mother, she's been able to, take care of all of us, playing both roles, So it was a lot that had to go into that decision. But the one thing about me, a lot of people could say, is I'm hard-headed. When I want something, I'm gonna find a way to make it happen. So, I was blessed to have people in my corner who supported me. I'm a firm believer that it takes a village, and it really in my situation, it took a village that to support me and you know, come to my aid to allow me to be where I am now. So it's been working out. It's been working out pretty well so far. You know, everything I said has come into fruition. You know, the story's still being written. So you know, every day is a blessing. Just adding to the book.
All right, let's go to Ryan Snyder.
Jesse, to kind of build off of what Matt just asked you there, can you talk about your time at Mercyhurst, just what it did for you as a player, what that transition was like from Canadian to American football, and then just kind of the exposure it gave you and you know, going through the recruiting process?
The transition itself wasn't easy. You know, I remember a funny story that always comes to mind whenever I think of it, because so when I first transitioned from Canada to America, I was still young yet. I hadn't hit my growth spurt yet, so I was playing safety at the time. And in Canada, as you guys are well aware, the fields are much bigger and wider. So I came down playing safety, and I was like 25 yards away from the ball. So my coach would always look at me like, "Why are you so far away?" So it took some time for me to get adjusted and, you know, finally get comfortable, get a good feel for the game. But once it clicked, that was when I started, you know, feeling like myself, getting back to myself and making those plays that allowed me to, you know, start generating some attention from these collegiate coaches, which helped skyrocket my recruitment. As far as the exposure and what it's done for not only me, but, you know, the whole Canadian scene, I feel like it's been big because, you know, now it's like, it's normal, you know, coaches are comfortable finding these kids from Canada going across the border, and, you know, they're adding more weapons to the roster because, you know, these Canadian kids can play ball and they can play ball at a high level. It's just, you know, as far as exposure and the opportunity to get in contact with these coaches, they're limited. You know, social media has changed the game drastically, but still, I feel like there's strides to be taken for Canadian athletes to take the next step, for them to be respected and have an equal playing field.
All right, let's go to Joe Giuliano.
Good morning, Jesse. I wondered if you had been in touch with Micah Parsons since he opted out, and when's the last time you talked? Did you think there was a chance he might come back?
Me and Micah talk every day. Yeah, you know, nothing's changed. He's a couple kilometers away, but, you know, he's nothing but a finger tap away. As far as his decision, I was actually unsure what he was going to do. We talked about it, and he let me know, and, you know, he finally decided that he wasn't going to come back. And, you know, it's nothing but love for him. He's going to continue to keep working out there and prepare for him to dominate the combine. That's the only thing that he has on his mind right now. You know, he has a clear head, and I'm excited to see what he's going to do.
Josh Meyer.
Hey, Jesse, what is the mindset of this linebacking core? I mean, you guys lost 3 starters, which would be difficult for any position group to overcome. So, you know, how do you make sure there's no drop off from 2019?
You know, similar to that time when we played Maryland this past year. You know, when you have the opportunity for your number to be called, you step up. There's no drop off. And, you know, the only thing I tell my guys day in and day out when we work, who's next? Who's next? Simple as that. You know, we're gonna come ready to play. You know, there's no question about that. Now the next question is who's going to be next. Simple like that. There's going to be a lot of guys who are going to be able to step up and earn their names, and, you know, have the opportunity, to, you know, make their name a household one. And I'm excited to see who it's going to be.
All right, if you'd like to ask a question, just raise your hand. Oh, I see you there, Pat. 1 second. There we go. Just want to unmute yourself there, Pat.
Yep.
There you go. Go ahead, Pat.
Hey, Jesse, how are you?
I'm Pat.
Hey, you only have 8 games to kind of achieve your goals this year. Can you talk a little bit about the sense of urgency from day one this year and what that's going to be like for you guys?
I mean, 8 games sounds like 8 opportunities for me. You know, we're focused, we're driven. We know what the task is at hand. You know, Indiana. I know you told me we got 8, but the only one that's on my mind right now is in Indiana. You know, we've been vigorous with our film study, breaking them down, and, you know, just talking situational football, what they like to do, tendencies, and, you know, we're gonna take, you know, the situation for what it is and make the best out of it. And that's it.
All right. Just you guys see there's 4-minute reminder here that we have 4 minutes left. I will go to Ben Free.
There we go.
On you.
Hey Jesse, how are you doing?
Good. Yourself?
Pretty good. Just curious. I mean, there's obviously gonna be no fans for all the games this year. So just you guys as a defense, how are you kind of hoping to like keep that energy up and just kind of overcome a sense of weirdness there?
I mean, week to week, we come with our own juice. So, I mean, if there's no
Sorry. I'm sorry, Jesse. That's my fault. I hit the wrong one.
Did you hear me?
So if you just want to start over, Jesse, that's my fault.
Week to week, games are going to be played. So, if we're going to lose the opportunity to have fans in the game, and with us, our 107K fans, we love them and we rely on them. But regardless, we're going to find ways to feed off each other and make sure the guys on the field, they can feed off it and maximize it.
All right, we'll go to Nebias Wilborn.
All right. Oh, hold on. I'm on mute.
You're good to go.
It's Wilborn, but the other guy got it first name wrong. You got the last name wrong. But anyway, we're gonna get it together. For you, Jesse, when you look at this year, what are some things that made you decide to opt in, and what has it said about your team only really having one guy opt out?
I mean, I never opted out, so I was always in. Regardless of a player's individual situation, we're still going to stay the course of our task. Micah had a tough decision to make, and regardless, a lot of people may try to harp on him for making that decision, but you got to think about it like this: what would you do if you were in his situation? So he has other reasons why he made his decision, and that's perfectly fine. We still love him for it, and we're going to support him for it. But as for everybody else who's still in our locker room, who's still coming into work day in and day out, we're just focused on Indiana.
All right, we'll probably make this the last one. Sean Fitz.
Jesse, how you doing, man?
What up, my guy?
Hey, you played special teams as a freshman, burnt your red shirt. Now there's an opportunity for these freshmen that they're not going to burn a red shirt even if they just play special teams. What do you tell those guys that, may be able to step into that role, Zariah, those guys, about playing special teams? And then I guess since it's the last question, what do you think of Zariah, Elston, and Jacobs, the new guys at linebacker?
So honestly, it's just I help cultivate the culture. We have a culture here where we take special teams serious. I had an opportunity to get my feet wet as a freshman where, I didn't really get those primetime snaps at the linebacker position. But what I did have was the opportunity to showcase my abilities, go down on kickoff, for example, and just bully kids. So, I'm trying to show them that, there's a different way to approach special teams. We're going to have fun here. We're going to dominate. We're going to be a different swag to it. At the same time, I also emphasize that you see certain guys in the league who have no business being there, but they're there because they're diligent special teams players that people can depend upon. And at the same time, they're getting paid. They got mouths to feed. So that's how I try to embrace the culture and try to teach it to the young guys. And, they're embracing it. As far as the three young guys, Kurt, Ty, and Zariah, they're looking good. It's going to be now. It's going to be more so who's going to be able to grasp the playbook comfortably and play at a high level and do what they have to do to earn an opportunity to play on the field.